Well, it is the next day. I have no idea where we left off yesterday between working on this motor and the Yamaha. So we got the carbs cleaned on that. He was able to ride that thing back home to his parents' house out here. Like I said, he was in town from Utah, and we just had a good night. Hung out, grilled up some food, shot the shit, played in the garage. But I need to get this done. If you notice, there's a lot of stuff on the ground over here and a ton of space in here because every bike I have is now on my driveway, along with the cherry picker and the 351. I don't like leaving crap out like that, but I just ran out of time yesterday when we had people come over and stuff. So today's goal, we left off, I got everything gasket scraped on this motor, so we got to finish assembling this block. We're going to start with the camshaft over there. So we're going to lube that up, drop the cam in, and then start going through the rest of this. Get everything put back together. So let me get set up and then we'll start jamming away. Here's the old cam that was in there. Here's the new one. Just checking the dowel pins. I think this one's long enough to run with mechanical. We'll find out. I'm going to try it. It looks about the same, maybe a sliver shorter than the other one, but it's not like a short one. So, drop this thing in. This is not a brand new fresh motor, so that means we got a little bit of forgiveness here because there's oil on everything already. But we'll lube up the cam, especially the journals. We're using Torco today. So, got this lubed up. Careful when you run your hands around these because some of these edges can be really sharp, especially on a stock older one. Cut myself on these several times, but slip her in nice and easy. I don't like doing this typically after everything's already installed. This is a used cam and a used motor now, so slide them in nice and easy. And then we get down into the hard part at the very end. It's nice doing this before the crank is in when you're doing the first assembly, because you can actually reach down in and grab everything. Now we don't have that luxury. Just like that. And we'll just make sure everything spins free, like so. No tight spots, no high spots. What you want to see. Alright, let me find the rest of my cam parts now. Back on the front of the motor now. Put the crank bolt back in. Got my ratchet. Turn the motor over. Pick mat underneath that. We're dripping a little bit more since the oil pan's off. Made a big old mess out here last night. We're moving a little slow today. Okay, we'll rotate the motor around. Bring this keyway up to 12 o'clock. That puts us on our number 1 piston, which unforwards. Front right passenger side. Bring this around one more time. It's right there. Keyway's at 12 o'clock. We're good there. I think I did the piston flip on this too. All these dots are pointing to the back. And then we get our cam keyway, which we're gonna go dot to dot, I believe. Where is all my cam stuff? Oh yeah. Okay, so you get your cam plate and retainer plate. Throw this guy back in here, which will go this way. Just get these started. I'm going to put a little drop of red Loctite on here too, because we don't want this moving around. A little dab will do ya. And retainer plates back on. Snug these down. This is not a high torque on there, but we'll put a regular ratchet on here real quick too, just to verify everything's kosher. We are good there. Now, camshafts. Camshafts in. Now I get to play the line everything up game. So, first thing I gotta do is pull the crank nut off. We get to line these guys up. So again, we're gonna use the arrow here on the lower keyway, like so. Arrow on the bottom. And line that up on the dot up top. Hopefully that'll work. Like so. Just like that. Where are we looking here? That was kind of the goofy part. We're about a tooth off here. Or is that the advanced mark? No, I don't remember. I don't want the arrow. I lied. I want the O. O is going to be dot to dot. My bad. Looking at the teething marks on that, that was wrong. Not trying to advance this at all or alter the stock settings. I do have that Cloy's pump or cam on here, so it does have 3 adjustability settings. Oh, come on, camshaft. They're so crooked here. I don't know if you guys can see that. I'm going to put you right in my way and make my life more difficult. But here's your timing mark down below. We're way off here, and by way off, about a tooth or so. Degrade the cam a hair more back. That ought to give me about a tooth. Run these dot to dot here. That's better. Now, hopefully you guys can see that, but we have our timing mark here on the cam, timing mark here, and we're pretty matched up. Like I said, this is a used timing set. I would recommend replacing all of this. However, in my case, this is used for not that many miles. So, we are good. We'll put our little oil splasher back on. And our fuel pump. I am running a Holley mechanical pump on this setup. Typically, if I have these parts, I like to just throw them in, because I usually run the retro timing covers and whatnot. And if your electric pump dies on the side of the road, you can still have a mechanical. So there we go. Fuel pump's in, timing is in. I gotta prep the timing cover. I prepped the block side. I did not do the timing cover yet, so we're going to go through that. And it actually does look like I have a new seal in this kit, looking at it now. So I think we're going to pound a seal in. I don't know how much this is going to go on camera today because I am dragging, and it's a timing cover. I think I've done a couple videos on slapping together these motors. Go back on the other ones. I think I got the original motor build for this, and the van, and maybe the truck too. No, I think they did the truck before that, but go on back. I think I did timing cover install videos, or YouTube, search it. It should pop up. We'll be back when this is all ready. Well, I got the timing cover back on-ish, but I did leave all of these bolts loose. There's 4 of them. So these two, technically 6 because you got the 2 that thread in up top. I put RTV on the block, and I put RTV on the face of the gasket. This is a new timing cover, so I did not load up RTV on the face, but doing a skim coat on the front side of the gasket here, where the back side of this timing cover bolts up to, should be adequate there. And then I did put a good amount of RTV on the back side of this. So I didn't tighten or final torque these yet because, in my experience, it's good practice to take your balancer, and we'll drop this on here first. Let me grab some assembly lube. Just on the housing of the balancer. So we'll work this around on the seal. I didn't replace the seal. I was looking at it. It didn't have any tears in it. And I honestly don't know where that oil was coming from. But I've seen front seals leak, and this one did not look like that. And I don't really care. I'm kind of in the rush phase, so if that becomes an issue and I gotta swap out just that front timing cover seal, we can address that down the line. So by avoiding that now, I'm kind of making more of a problem for me down the line. But once you get your balancer lubed up, this is why I leave those bolts loose, we'll snug this down and pull the balancer in, and that'll allow the timing cover to shift a little bit before doing final assembly. So we'll seat the balancer now, because I want the balancer to sit tight on the crank, much more than the timing cover bolts, like trying to fight and pull that seal. So by seating the balancer, you're kind of squaring up that entire timing cover around the balancer, as opposed to trying to drive the balancer straight in, regardless of where the timing cover is at. There's some wiggle room here. We're spinning the pistons, which I didn't want to do. That's okay. So I spun that one rotation. I think I'm actually just trying to go back here to where I know it's supposed to be. Just past it. Right on it. That's right there, and then we'll kind of shim this up, because your timing cover is going to mount onto the oil pan block. So now that that's good, now we can tighten down the rest of these. And then we got the 2 up top, which I'm not going to bring you guys up to. I'll show you. Just these 2 up top that you can't get a socket on. And that's it for the timing cover. So rather than one-handing this, let me finish this up, and then if anything goofy comes up on the water pump, which I left all the bolts in. I think the hardest part about doing the water pump install is just making sure that all the hardware is right, because you got some really, really long ones in different sizes, which is why I usually just buy a new timing pump bolt kit, especially when you're getting rid of the stock accessory stuff, because there's a ton of double studded ones. But scrape this gasket surface real quick, we'll throw the water pump back on, and that should be about it on this part. Timing cover's on. torque down. Everything's good on that one now. Got the alternator bracket in as well since that overlaps. Now it's onto the oil pan. So we got the one-piece gasket sitting on the pan right now, which we will start throwing in. I'm going to clean all this oil off because oil is not good for that. A little bit of silicone on the timing cover here and here, and then along the block seal mating surface, we'll load those ones up. Same thing in the back corners, here and here. Other than that, blue seal gets reused and goes right back in. Here's the oil pan. I'm also at this time going to load up this hole with silicone. I don't know if this is the best idea, but I need a block off in here. So I'm going to shoot some silicone into this hole. The oil pan should actually cover part of it, but I want to try and load this up with a little ball for the pass-through on the block instead of just a plug. And then we'll put some more in on the other side. I don't know how well that's going to set up. This could be a terrible idea, but live and learn. I've never really had to do this before with the roller cam block plug, so I'm learning. But we'll get this in the corners here. Big old glob there. Right across the seal. Right across the seal. That one we're going to mat down a little bit. So right here we'll just kind of skim this across. So we get a little on the block, a little on the timing cover, just on this corner for the mating surface. And then that, those blue gaskets tend to seal up pretty well. So a little on the block here, a little on the timing cover. And we'll squish some down into here, like so. Way more than I typically use, but that's what squirted out of the tube. Hands off here, and then we'll grab the gasket. This all laid out on the studs up front here. Alright, so now we grab our pan, which has a little bit of oil in it. Get some of this out of here. We'll drop our pan down. Get her onto the studs up front. Just like so. We should be good. I'll just start grabbing the bolts. I think I left those over here. I had a set of torque plates somewhere for this too. Like the little brackets that run the whole span of the oil pan. I don't remember where those went. Maybe those are on another motor. Did I use those on my truck? Sorry, thinking out loud. So I'll start at these back corners. Is back together. So we're pretty much good on the bottom side of this motor other than clean up stuff. Like I said, I might wipe this down real quick just to make it a little cleaner to work with when we're putting it back in. But oil pan is in with the one-piece gasket. Timing cover is done. And now we're on to the top end, which involves a ton of cleaning. So I got a bunch of gasket stuff to scrape off. A lot to clean up on that side. And then we got to adjust the valves, which is going to be a little bit different than the stock setup, since we do have hydraulic, well, not hydraulic, but we do have roller lifters. So 1.6 ratio on there. I do have 1/7 in my truck with a stock cam. I don't know what the clearance is or if I can get away with 1/7. I'm going to run the trick flow ones that came with this motor, or with the heads, since it's all set up already. But I do also have a set of crane roller 1/6s as well, but I want to keep it all trick flow on this end. So let's start cleaning. I'll be back when we're all scraped off on this top end.